Rock drumming has always been a strange sort of alchemy, an unspoken code of energy, rhythm and defiance.
Yeah, well, drums are a tunable instrument, and you know, they're not just tubs that, you know, the thicko hod-carrying drummer thumps away at the back.
Drummers are the bedrock, the relentless pulse at the heart of the band, and while their work might often be in the background, there's no mistaking their impact. In the case of Queen, it was Roger Taylor who brought that raw, relentless beat. But Taylor wasn't just another drummer pounding out time. He was a student of his craft, studying some of the wildest, most talented drummers of the rock era to forge his own powerhouse style.
You know, we are the conductors of the band, and we don't just keep time. We drive the band, and I would always like to think that the drums on our records, so they add to the sound.
Everybody rock and roll!
His idols, however, were anything but predictable. Mitch Mitchell, John Bonham, and Keith Moon. Together, they formed the holy trinity of Taylor's influences. Three drummers who did more than keep time. They defined it. Starting with Mitch Mitchell, Taylor's admiration is nothing short of reverent. Here was a drummer who was part of the Jimi Hendrix experience, yet Mitchell never let Hendrix's overwhelming presence eclipse his own artistry. Born out of jazz and cut into rock, Mitchell brought something entirely different to the table, a fusion of technique and spirit that few could match. Taylor was entranced by the way Mitchell danced around the beat. His drumming in tracks like Manic Depression and Fire was all about movement, a seamless blend of rhythm and melody. In Taylor's words, Mitchell was so fast you could barely see his hands. It wasn't just speed, though. It was an artful use of speed, filling every space with a precision that felt as natural as breathing. Taylor could sense that Mitchell wasn't there just to mark the tempo. He was shaping the song's entire energy. For a budding drummer like Taylor, watching Mitchell was like discovering a new language, one that made room for both finesse and flamboyance without a hint of ego. If Mitchell was jazz rock finesse, John Bonham was pure rock thunder. For Taylor, witnessing Bonham live was like standing on the edge of a storm. He and Freddie Mercury had the chance to see Led Zeppelin early on, and Taylor recalls feeling the literal power of Bonham's drumming.
Yes, I remember, I think Bonzo just walked on and just sort of tuned and fiddled, and it just sounded like thunder. And we was like, wow, if the band are, you know, as good as the drummer, they're going to be massive, and of course they were.
Bonham was a master of dynamics. His technique had an underlying sensitivity that took each song to its limit without overpowering it. In tracks like When the Levee Breaks and Kashmir, his drumming felt like a primal force, each beat reverberating with an almost seismic impact. But what captivated Taylor was Bonham's ability to hit hard and right. Every drum strike had a purpose, every sound calculated to build that monumental wall of sound. For Taylor, Bonham's approach was like a blueprint for controlled power. Be as loud as you want, but make every hit count. It was this balance of might and measure that Taylor would emulate, working tirelessly to bring Bonham's colossal sound to Queen's music.
And just the first track blew me away because he was doing all this fancy bass drum stuff which nobody else could do. So, and then of course his technique was fantastic, and on top of which he had a great sound. So, you know, he was the best in terms of speed, technique and power and sound. So he really had all his ducks in a row.
Yet, if Bonham embodied control, Keith Moon was the embodiment of chaos, a one-man spectacle behind the kit. Moon's drumming was less about technique and more about creating sheer mayhem. Known as the madman of rock, he would often break sticks mid-performance, knock over cymbals, and push the limits of what the drum kit could even handle. But here's the thing. As unhinged as Moon seemed, his drumming was instinctual, his phrasing and timing as unique as a fingerprint. Tracks like Won't Get Fooled Again and Baba O'Reilly have this relentless, almost tribal energy, as though Moon was tapping into something primal, beyond mere beats. Taylor was utterly captivated. Where Mitchell showed him finesse and Bonham demonstrated power, Moon offered a third path, complete freedom. Moon didn't follow the rules, and his drumming felt as though it came from some untamed part of his soul. For Taylor, Moon was a reminder that rock wasn't just music. It was performance, drama, unpredictability. The fascination wasn't just about what these drummers did on stage, but how they approached their craft. Mitchell was meticulous, constantly pushing his jazz techniques to fit Hendrix's psychedelic world. Bonham, meanwhile, was all about sound. He famously tuned his drums lower than most drummers of the era, achieving a rich, booming tone that Taylor worked hard to capture in Queen. And Moon? Moon was the ultimate showman, treating the drums as an extension of his personality, turning each performance into something bordering on performance art. Taylor would take pieces from all of them, weaving them into his own style, one that was somehow technical, powerful, and unpredictable all at once. When Queen emerged, they weren't just another band in a crowded scene, they were a band with something to prove. Taylor's drumming became the linchpin of their sound, a constant force that allowed Freddie Mercury's voice and Brian May's guitar to reach astronomical heights. On early tracks like Stone Cold Crazy and Keep Yourself Alive, Taylor's playing is electric, a fusion of everything he'd learned. He channels Mitchell's speed and precision, Bonham's power, and Moon's flair for showmanship, resulting in a sound that's immediately recognizable as Queen. But his biggest trick was knowing when to hold back, when to let the space breathe. It's that restraint, learned from Mitchell's tight fills and Bonham's measured aggression, that gives Taylor's drumming its unique, intense pulse.
So put a rim shot on every backbeat if you want it to really count.
Taylor's admiration for these drummers wasn't just limited to their skills, though. There was a mutual respect for the craft, a sense that they were pushing drumming forward, making it more than just timekeeping. Taylor wasn't interested in flashy solos or taking the spotlight. He wanted to elevate the music, to create something lasting. That's why, even though he had the talent to fill the space with endless rolls and fills, he chose instead to be the rock, the steady backbone that kept Queen grounded even as Mercury and May soared. There's a subtlety in Taylor's playing that echoes his heroes, an understanding that less can often be more, and that the spaces between beats are just as important as the beats themselves. It's no exaggeration to say that without Mitchell, Bonham and Moon, Roger Taylor's drumming would be something altogether different, perhaps less powerful, less dynamic. They were the architects of his approach, each offering a different philosophy on what it meant to be a drummer. Mitchell taught him to play with elegance, to find beauty in speed and precision. Bonham showed him how to wield power without sacrificing control. And Moon gave him permission to break the rules, to inject a wildness that would become the lifeblood of Queen's music. Even today, Taylor's drumming stands as a testament to the art of synthesis, a tribute to his idols, but with a voice all its own. Every time he sits behind the kit, he brings a piece of them with him. Mitchell's lightning hands, Bonham's thunderous might, and Moon's sheer audacity. Taylor may never have sought the spotlight, but he created something greater, a style that resonates in every beat, a rhythm that pulses through the legacy of rock itself. In every Queen song, from the bombastic Bohemian Rhapsody to the foot-stomping We Will Rock You, you can hear the echoes of those drumming legends, reimagined, reinvigorated, and forever stamped with the unmistakable sound of Roger Taylor.